So this word that I want to share, and it's about love, like the God's love. Um, if we look like what's happening now in the world and in the social media and everything, so people like all of us, we have lost God's love, the true love. When we look at love, so we can categorize, so even people, they don't even know now like the actual meaning of love. Many people, they just think that love is just between two partners, of which it's also love, but we can categorize this as the people, many people, they know love as this like a romantic love between partners and so on. Then there is also another love which is like between friends. It's transactional, like I serve you, you serve me, or I do good things to you and you also do good things to me, or we just agree on something, or maybe we can do bad things together. As long as we support each other in doing those bad things, then we just love each other. Then there is God's love, which is true love, which is unconditional. So this is the love. This is the love that defines Christianity, or the love that defines disciples of Jesus. That's the true love from God that never changes. The agape love, and this is the love that is challenging, or that is very difficult. If we and we really have to be careful from like all the sources of information that we get, because even the devil is pushing the agenda that hate or individualism is actually the best way to solve problems. So for example, if you disagree with someone, or you get into a conflict, people, they just distance themselves, or they just try to cut you off, or distance themselves from you, or something like that, and they create this tension and hate. Then so the devil is trying to tell people that this is the way to solve problem, or this is the way to find peace, like just isolate yourself from people, then do your things. But instead, love is the solution to everything. Then if we truly love each other, then we consider each other, then it's even becomes difficult to do wrong things to each other. And also, if we mistakenly, of course, do wrong things to each other, then with love we can easily even forgive each other. So the I would try to go through some scriptures, some verses in the Bible, to try to learn like what God tells us about love, and also what is actually love, and how to love. So if we look in at even like from the beginning, even it's like to actually define that the love of God is actually unconditional. So in John 3 verse 16, we hear that, for God so loved the world that he gave his only son, that whoever believes in him should not perish, but we have eternal life. So this means God just loved the world that he gave his only son, only one son, and it's himself also. He was God himself, so he gave up even himself for the world. So which it's like unconditional. It's even God is putting the world, is putting us ahead of his son or ahead of him. Yeah, even. And so, and the love, true love of God is actually the greatest or the first commandment that is given to us. So, and since this is a commandment, it's we have to follow it, and by so it's yeah, we can say a commandment can be, it's a rule or which or a directive that is given to us, and we don't have a choice. We can't say no to that. It's something that we just have to, we have to make a choice that we need. Actually, we can't make a choice. Actually, we just have to maybe we need to train ourselves, of course, to follow this commandment. Yeah, we can misbehave there, or we can make a choice to disobey, but when you do that, the punishment, of course, will follow. That's at the end we have the wars and people not helping each other, people committing suicide, people getting depression, and all these kind of things. That's the punishment that will come if we don't obey. And if we go to Deuteronomy 6, it's, verse 5. So in this one, God tells us that it's actually the Old Testament before Jesus. So God tells us that love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your strength. So this is the first commandment, just to love God, and with everything, like with all our heart, all soul, all the strength. So if we obey this command, if we love God, we listen to all God's instructions, we will follow all the God's instructions. If we obey this command, on this single command, then all the other ones will follow in, because God teaches us to even love everyone, and to not kill, to not lie. So if we first love God, then we will follow God's instructions, and this will even help us to live in peace among ourselves as well. And then in the New Testament, the same commandment is actually reinforced when in Matthew 22, maybe verses 37, maybe 38, 39, I will read. So in verse 37, it says, Jesus replied, "I love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your mind." So this is Jesus saying. So and also this, they are almost similar, and it actually tells us that God never changes. He is the same, like in Deuteronomy. So it was also the same, almost like love God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your strength. It's also love God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. And so this is the first and the greatest command. And then it was then Jesus also went to say, and the second is like it, then love your neighbor as yourself. And so this is also quite difficult also nowadays, because we tend, of course, to love ourselves more than others, and because we in also these scenarios where we actually tend to love people who do some things that we like, or yeah, it's this friendship or transactional love that so many people, they just say, okay, if you continue maybe to love others, yeah, people will always say something. Some will say, you or when you do good things or when you help people, other people even may start to comment or may start to hate, and others will say, everything, it has to be two-way, and how can you pour from an empty cup or something like that. But if your cup is filled by God, if you are connected to God, if your cup is being filled by God, you will not be tired even to give love to everyone. So people, yeah. So, but if your cup is you rely that your cup is filled by someone else, by another person, then that person, if it's a person who is filling your cup, then we all have limited resources. But if you are connected to God, if your love is coming from God, God will never run of resources, so your love will never end. So that is one thing. And other scriptures, maybe I would just read also other scriptures which just support this. So another scripture we read in 1 Peter verse 4. So here it's Peter says, above all, love one another deeply, because love covers over a multitude of sins. Show hospitality to one another without complaining. Yes, so within this one also, Peter is trying to say, to just tell us that we should just love each other, show grace to each other, and without complaining. So even to those who or doesn't appreciate us, or who are even hostile to us, we just have to prioritize to show love to them, or to actually demonstrate the love that Christ showed us. So it's this is a bit also hard, because people will comment, then everyone, people will see that, okay, they actually, they can see that these people are either mistreating you and they are hostile to you, but you always do good things to them, and so on. And they can think that you are being foolish, or but this is the challenge, or this is why being a Christian is really difficult. So Jesus himself, even it was planned that he was going to die for us, but he didn't do anything wrong, but everyone hated him, because he was telling the truth, and he was loving people, he was loving kids, he was loving women, but everyone hated him. So this is the same thing. So if you follow, you become a disciple of Jesus, you follow Jesus' ways, you love people, you do good things to people, other people will actually start to distance themselves from you. They will even start to hate you, and because people, they don't want to hear the truth, because Jesus was speaking the truth all the time, and the result that he like even God had planned it that way. But if people could actually know and could actually appreciate that, okay, this message is the truth, but because we are us as humans, we are our mind is just and our mind and our bodies, they are just pro sin. We just want to sin, and we don't want to hear a message that is against sin. Then in that way we hate the truth. So to actually be a good disciple of God, we must love others also, even our enemies. So it's Jesus, even at the time then he was crucified, he even said, Lord, forgive them because they don't know what they are doing. So he actually understood that, okay, these people, they don't know what they are doing, and he cried to God to forgive all those people because they didn't know actually what they were doing. So, and it actually shows how Jesus even loved us, that he even actually forgave us with because we hated his teachings. People didn't like his teachings, which is like the truth, the message from God that he was saying. So this is what is challenging also about being a Christian. So, and we, then if we go like to Corinthians 3:13, we are from verse 4. So this one verse is like these verses, they actually tell us what is love and even how to love actually. So in if I can read actually quickly. So it's 1 Corinthians from verse 13. Maybe I read from 13 to 5 Corinthians 13 from verse 4 to verse 8. So it actually says that love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud, it is not rude, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices in truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. And it says like love also never fails. Yeah. So yes, I think all the like this, it's self-explanatory, like what actually is love. And if with verse 6, if we look, it does not delight in evil but rejoices in the truth. So this is also a very challenging one, that nowadays people just they hate the truth, and they like they even actually find happiness or in evil. So it's actually like we are actually doing the opposite of this verse 6, and so instead of like delighting in doing good things, like people, we should just feel happy with helping other people, or being like happy by being generous, and happy in telling the truth, and happy in hearing the truth. But we, yeah, as humans, yeah, we are actually nowadays doing the opposite. But if we turn ourselves, and if we actually love God, then we will train ourselves will to actually start to delight in doing good things, and delight in the truth. So then there are also other scriptures that actually can teach us, or can tell us also how actually to love. So if we go on 1 John verse chapter 4, like verses 21 and 22. So it says, whoever claims to love God yet hates a brother or sister is a liar. So whoever does not love their brother or sister whom they have seen cannot love God, whom they have not seen. And he has given us this command: anyone who loves God must also love their brother and sister. So also, I think this is also self-explanatory. So we cannot say we love God or we are Christians, but we, in the back of our mind, there is someone else that we don't want to see, or we don't want to greet, or we don't want to see prosper, or we don't even want to talk to. So I think there are people who with, like, we might have one or two people or something like that, but as children of God, we must make peace with everyone. We must love everyone. We must yeah, love our brothers, sisters, and neighbors as ourselves. And if we only have like a single person that we hate, or that we say, this one, I will never speak to him, I don't want to see him, then we don't love God in that, if we like that. And the scriptures, it's Luke 6 verse 35. But love your enemies, do good to them, and lend them without expecting to get anything back. Then your reward will be great, and you will be children of the Most High, because He is kind to the ungrateful and wicked. So actually, this one is also teaching us to love without expecting. So to like, not think of like this transactional love, or this friendship love, that okay, I serve you and you serve me, I do good to you and you do good to me, just to do good without expecting. So it's to actually help us in this, just we as you can see, as Jesus, he loved kids. Like, kids, they actually, they just, you can do good to them, and your happiness comes from just seeing the kids happy. It's not from you are not doing like an investment, like, okay, I'm giving these kids, then later when they will give me back something, or it's not a trade. So your happiness is just coming from doing good. So that as Christians, we should learn to just love without expecting. Yeah. uh, uh, yeah, then yeah, there are also other in Matthew chapter 5, also verse 43 to 48. I will read that. Then you have heard that it was said, love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I tell you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, that you may be children of your Father in heaven. He causes His sun to rise on the evil and good, and sends rain to the righteous and the unrighteous. If you love those who love you, what reward do you get? Are not even the tax collectors doing that? And if you are great, or if you greet only your people, who are you doing more than others? Do not even pagans do that? Be perfect, therefore, as your heavenly Father is perfect. So this is also just also telling us that we have to do good even to those who do wrong things to us, who persecute us, who are hostile to us. And it's also telling us to be perfect, so as our Father in heaven is perfect. Yeah. And right. So so I think these are the scriptures that I just wish to share with us. And in so in this, like, this world actually is discouraging the love, and it's promoting hate, it's promoting pride, and it's getting so much wicked and hate. So in we and so many, there are so many even false advices that are on the internet, just discouraging to love the people that always take from us or something like that. And so this is also another thing that we have to fight as Christians, to fight against these kind of messages or this kind of agendas. And then to keep on staying motivated, because these messages, they can discourage us, but we just have to realize that we are connected to God, and God's resources will never run out, and will always be available, will always be abundant. So in that way, we will always have peace in our mind. And if we know that we are God's children, and we are doing God's commands, and we are obeying God, then we will have peace, and we will be able to continue to represent God's love, to show the world that to always demonstrate the love that Jesus gave to us. So, and for this, we need to have, or we need actually to pray for a teachable spirit. And on top of this, we need to know that our teacher is God Himself. So that way, we need to be careful, because there are so many teachers now. As I say, so this, if you just go on Instagram or internet, you can see like a message which you think, or it's giving a good advice, but actually it's directing you to the wrong direction in some way. So it can maybe start like a good message, then some way it turns out and start to promote some kind of hate or some kind of tension, division. And many people are following these kind of messages, but we have to go to the scriptures. So our teacher is God Himself, and we need to pray actually to have this teachable spirit, and to be able to love one another. So this is the word that I wanted to share.